Hey, listen up, it's January 1st, 2026, and right now, millions of people are stepping into this new year carrying the exact same mindset that held them back last year. And the year before that, they're excited about new year, new me, but deep down, they're stuck in old patterns, doubting themselves, waiting for motivation that never shows up, and playing the victim to their circumstances. If that's you, here's the truth due now to enter 2026 with that mindset. Because if you do, nothing changes. But today, I'm going to show you the 4 dangerous mindsets you must ditch right now to finally level up and create the life you deserve. All right, let's dive into the first mindset you absolutely cannot bring into 2026 if you want anything in your life to change. It's the one that keeps more people stuck than almost anything else. It's the victim mindset. You know exactly what I'm talking about. It's that quiet voice in your head that says, life's happening to me. My childhood messed me up. My ex ruined my trust. The economy's bad. My boss doesn't appreciate me. I don't have time. I don't have the right connections. I was born in the wrong place, wrong family, wrong body. It's the story you keep telling yourself about why things aren't working out and why they probably never will. And here's the hard truth. As long as you carry that story into this new year, nothing changes. Nothing. Because when you play the victim, you hand over all your power to everyone and everything else. You become a passenger in your own life, waiting for the world to finally be fair, waiting for someone to come save you, waiting for circumstances to line up perfectly before you can start moving forward. But guess what? That day never comes. I want you to think about this for a second. Every single person who has ever created massive success, massive happiness, massive freedom, they all had reasons they could have played the victim. Every single one. Trauma, loss, betrayal, poverty, illness, discrimination, you name it, somebody out there has gone through it and still risen. And somebody else has gone through less and stayed stuck forever. The difference isn't the circumstance. It's the meaning they gave it and the responsibility they took afterward. So if you're sitting here thinking, yeah, but you don't know what I've been through, I hear you. I really do. Pain is real. Injustice is real. Betrayal hurts like hell. But staying in that pain and letting it define your future, that's a choice. And it's the most disempowering choice you can make. Here's what I want you to understand: your past is not your prison unless you keep holding the key. Your story doesn't have to end with the worst chapter. The most powerful people I know took the hardest things that happened to them and turned them into fuel. They stopped asking, why did this happen to me? And started asking, how can I use this to help myself and others? They turned their mess into their message. But none of that happens until you take radical responsibility. I'm talking 100% ownership, not 99%, not, yeah, but they started it, 100%. That means you stop blaming your parents, your ex, the government, social media, your genetics, anything outside of you for where you are right now. You look in the mirror and say, this is my life, and I am the one who gets to decide what happens next. I know that might feel heavy at first. It did for me. When I finally stopped blaming everyone else for my anxiety, my failed relationships, my financial struggles, when I finally said, okay, this is on me now. It was terrifying, because now there were no more excuses. But do you know what came after the terror? Freedom. Real freedom. Because once you own it all, you realize you can change it all. So right now, I want you to ask yourself a question that changed everything for me. What am I pretending not to know? What excuses have I been clinging to that I already know are holding me back? What blame have I been placing on someone else that I could take back today? What story about why I can't have the health, the money, the relationship, the happiness I want, what part of that story is no longer serving me? Because here's the beautiful flip side of responsibility. When you own the problem, you own the power to solve it. When you stop waiting for an apology that may never come, for conditions to be perfect, for someone to finally see your worth, you start creating the life you actually want. You become the hero of your own story instead of the victim in someone else's. So as we step into 2026, make the decision right now: no more victim mindset. No more waiting to be rescued. You are not broken beyond repair. You are not doomed by your past. You are powerful beyond measure, And the moment you take full responsibility for your life is the moment everything starts to shift. Own your life, because no one else is going to do it for you. Okay, let's move to the second mindset that will absolutely destroy your 2026 if you let it tag along the scarcity and fear-based mindset. This one is sneaky because it feels protective. Your brain is literally wired to scan for threats, to focus on what could go wrong, to prepare for the worst. Back in the day, that kept us alive when a tiger might jump out of the bushes. But today, that same wiring keeps you small, hesitant, and playing a game you were never meant to lose. You know the thoughts I'm talking about. What if I fail and everyone sees? What if I put myself out there and get rejected? What if I invest the time, the money, the energy, and it doesn't work out? There's not enough opportunities, enough money, enough love, enough time. It's that constant low hum of fear that makes you shrink your dreams before you even start chasing them. And the worst part, fear feels like wisdom. It feels like you're being smart, cautious, realistic. But here's what I've learned the hard way: fear is a terrible predictor of the future, but it's an incredible controller of your present. As long as you let fear drive the car, you stay parked. Let me paint a picture for you. Imagine two versions of you on December 31st, 2026. Looking back at this year, one version spent the year listening to fear, saying no to the promotion because I'm not ready, staying in the safe relationship because what if I end up alone, keeping the business idea in your head because the market's too saturated, avoiding the hard conversation because it might ruin everything. That version ends the year exactly where they started, maybe a little more bitter, a little more resentful, wondering why life feels so heavy. Now imagine the other version, the one who felt the fear and did it anyway, who applied for the job, asked for the raise, launched the side hustle, ended the relationship that was draining them, had the scary conversation, invested in themselves even when it felt risky. That version might have failed a few times, might have been rejected, might have lost some money or looked foolish. But they also grew, they learned, they built confidence that no one can take away. And by the end of the year, their life looks dramatically different, bigger, freer, more alive. The only difference between those two versions is what they did with fear. One let it decide, the other let it inform but not control. So how do you break free from this scarcity and fear-based mindset in 2026? First, you have to recognize that most of your fears are learned, not innate. Kids don't naturally fear rejection or failure. They learn it by watching adults shrink, which means you can unlearn it. You can rewire your brain toward abundance and possibility. Start by flipping the question. Instead of asking, what if I fail? Ask, what if I succeed? Instead of, what if it doesn't work? Ask, what if it does? Instead of, what's the worst that could happen? Also ask, what's the best that could happen? Your brain will give you whatever you ask for, so start asking better questions. Next, train yourself to feel the fear and move anyway. Courage isn't the absence of fear, it's action in the presence of fear. Every time you take a small step despite the tightness in your chest, you prove to your brain that fear isn't fatal. You build evidence that you can handle hard things. And over time, fear loses its grip. Also, flood your mind with abundance. Surround yourself with stories of people who started with less than you, who failed more than you, who took bigger risks and won. Read the books, listen to the podcasts, follow the people who remind you daily that there is enough, that opportunities are endless, that the universe rewards those who move forward with faith. And finally, make decisions from the version of you that you want to become, not the version you currently are. The future you, the one living the life you actually want, would they say yes to this opportunity? Would they let this fear stop them? Decide like that person, and you'll start becoming them. Because here's the truth, 2026 is going to come with risks. It's going to come with unknowns. But staying paralyzed by fear is the biggest risk of all. It guarantees the one thing you're most afraid of, a life half lived. So make this the year you stop letting fear write your story. Feel it, thank it for trying to protect you, and then move forward anyway. Because on the other side of fear is everything you've ever wanted. Trade fear for faith and watch your life expand in ways you can't even imagine right now. All right, Let's talk about the third mindset you cannot drag into 2026 if you actually want to see real progress: the perfectionist and procrastination mindset. This one is a killer because it disguises itself as high standards. You tell yourself, I just want to do it right. I don't want to half-ass it. I care about quality. And on the surface, that sounds noble. But underneath perfectionism is almost always fear wearing a fancy suit, fear of judgment, fear of not being enough, fear of confirming that deep down doubt that you're not as capable as you hope you are. So what happens? You wait for the perfect plan, the perfect time, the perfect amount of knowledge, the perfect mood, the perfect motivation. You research for months instead of starting. You rewrite the first chapter 10 times. Instead of finishing the book, you plan the gym routine, buy the clothes, download the app, but never actually step foot in the gym because conditions aren't ideal. And while you're waiting for everything to line up perfectly, life passes by. Opportunities slip away. Another year goes by, and you're still in the same place, just with a longer list of reasons why you haven't started yet. Here's the truth I had to learn the hard way: perfectionism isn't about excellence. It's about control. It's about avoiding the discomfort of putting something imperfect out into the world and risking criticism or failure. And procrastination, it's perfectionism's best friend. Together, they keep you stuck in an all or nothing loop. Either it's flawless or it doesn't count at all. So when the inevitable happens, when you have an off day, miss a workout, eat something you shouldn't, send an email with a typo, your brain says, see, you blew it. Might as well quit until Monday or next month or next year. But progress doesn't work that way. Progress is messy. Progress is inconsistent. Progress is showing up on the days you feel like it, and especially on the days you don't. Progress is 1% better today, even if it's sloppy. Progress is starting before you're ready, shipping the imperfect version, learning from the feedback, and iterating. I want you to think about the most successful people you admire. Their first product wasn't perfect. Their first speech wasn't flawless. Their first workout wasn't their best. They didn't wait until they had it all figured out. They moved forward with what they had, and they improved along the way. Done is better than perfect, because perfect never gets done. So how do you ditch this mindset in 2026? First, lower the bar to start. Make the entry point so ridiculously easy that you can't say no. Want to get in shape? Don't commit to an hour at the gym. Commit to putting on your shoes and walking out the door. Want to write a book? Don't aim for a chapter. Aim for 100 words. Want to build a business? Don't wait for the perfect website. Post one offer on social media today. Momentum is magic. Once you start, even imperfectly, the resistance drops and you build evidence that you're someone who follows through. Second, embrace progress over perfection. Track the streak, not the performance. Celebrate showing up, not just the wins. Give yourself permission to be a beginner again. Remind yourself daily, I'm not trying to be perfect. I'm trying to be consistent, because consistency compounds. Small, imperfect actions repeated over time create results that blow perfect plans out of the water. Third, reframe mistakes as data. When you slip up, and you will, don't beat yourself up and quit. Ask, what did I learn? How can I adjust? Every failure is just feedback if you choose to see it that way. The people who win long term aren't the ones who never mess up. They're the ones who never let a mess up become a stop. And finally, stop waiting for motivation. Motivation is fleeting. It comes and goes like the weather. Discipline is what gets you through the days motivation doesn't show up. Build systems, not goals. Schedule it, protect the time. Treat it like an appointment with your future self that you don't cancel. Listen, 2026 is not going to be perfect. You're not going to be perfect. But if you commit to progress, if you choose consistent, imperfect action over waiting for the stars to align, you will end this year so far ahead of where you are right now, you won't even recognize your old self. Choose progress over perfection and watch how fast your life transforms. And now, the fourth and final mindset you absolutely cannot carry into 2026 if you want to become the person capable of creating the life you dream about: the fixed identity mindset. This one is deep because it's not just about what you do, it's about who you believe you are. It's those quiet, automatic labels you've attached to yourself over the years. I'm just not a disciplined person. I'm bad with money. I'm not a morning person. I'm too shy to speak up. I've always been overweight. I'm not creative. Relationships never work out for me. I'm just unlucky. You say these things casually, maybe even laugh about them, but every time you do, you're reinforcing a story that your brain treats as fact. And here's what happens. Your brain loves being right. It will filter everything through that identity to prove you correct. You'll sabotage opportunities that don't fit the story. You'll notice evidence that supports it and ignore everything that contradicts it. You'll make choices from that old version of you and wonder why nothing ever changes. I used to do this all the time. I told myself for years that I wasn't a confident person, that I was awkward in social situations, that public speaking would never be my thing. And guess what? I avoided rooms where I had to network. I turned down opportunities to share my message. I stayed small because that's just who I am, until one day I realized that wasn't who I was. That was who I had decided I was based on past experiences. And decisions can be changed. Your identity isn't fixed. It's fluid. It's shaped by the stories you repeat, the actions you take, the evidence you choose to focus on. The most extraordinary transformations I've seen, mine included, didn't start with massive action. They started with a shift in identity. The moment someone decides, I am a healthy person, they start making choices that align with that. The moment someone says, I am a successful entrepreneur, they start thinking and acting like one, even before the results show up. So if you want 2026 to be different, you have to stop identifying with the old version of you and start stepping into the identity of the person who already has what you want. Ask yourself, who do I need to become to achieve my goals? What does that version of me believe about themselves? How do they think? How do they spend their time? What habits do they have? What boundaries do they set? What risks do they take? Then start acting as if you are already that person. Not fake it till you make it. Embody it. Make decisions from that future identity today. The you who's fit doesn't hit snooze and skip the workout. The you who's financially free doesn't impulse buy things they don't need. The you who's confident speaks up in the meeting even when their voice shakes a little. At first, it's going to feel uncomfortable. Your brain will resist because it's unfamiliar. You'll hear that voice say, who do you think you are? And that's exactly when you double down. Because identity change isn't about feeling ready. It's about repeating the new story until it feels true. It's about collecting new evidence through small daily actions that prove the new identity right. Surround yourself with people who already embody the identity you want. Read books, listen to content, follow people who reinforce the beliefs you're trying to adopt. Your environment shapes your identity more than you realize. Guard it fiercely. And be patient with yourself. You didn't build the old identity overnight, and you won't fully step into the new one overnight either. But every single day you choose to act in alignment with who you're becoming, you weaken the grip of the old story and strengthen the new one. Listen, you are not stuck being who you've been. You are not sentenced to repeat the patterns of your past. You are capable of profound evolution. The only thing keeping the old you alive is your continued agreement with that story. So as we step fully into this new year, make the decision to let the old identity die. Bury the labels that have limited you. Stop introducing yourself, even in your own mind, with the versions of you that no longer serve your future. You are becoming, you are evolving, you are capable of anything when you master who you believe yourself to be. Level up your identity, and your entire life will rise to meet it. Listen, we've gone deep today. We've ripped apart the 4 mindsets that have been quietly running your life, playing the victim, and handing away your power, letting fear and scarcity call the shots, chasing perfection while procrastinating on your dreams, and clinging to an old identity that no longer fits the person you're meant to become. Here's the bottom line. 2026 is here right now. It's fresh, it's clean, it's full of possibility. But it's not magic. The date changing doesn't change anything unless you do. If you carry those same mindsets forward, you'll get the same results, just wrapped in a new calendar. Same frustration, same regrets, same quiet disappointment when December rolls around and you realize another year slipped by. But if you make the decision today, right here, right now to release the victim story, to move forward in spite of fear, to choose progress over perfection, and to step fully into the identity of the person who already has the life you want. Everything changes. You change. And when you change, your actions change. Your results change. Your confidence changes. Your relationships, your health, your bank account, your happiness, they all start rising to meet the new standard you've set for yourself. This isn't about hoping for a better year. This is about deciding to become a better you, a stronger you, the you that looks back on 2026 and says, that was the year I finally stopped waiting and started creating. So as this new year begins, I want you to make a promise to yourself, not a fluffy resolution that fades by February, a real promise. Promise that you will take radical responsibility. Promise that you will act in spite of fear. Promise that you will choose progress every single day. Promise that you will become the person you're proud to be. Because you deserve that life. You deserve that freedom. You deserve that joy. Do not enter 2026 with the old mindset. Enter it with fire. Enter it with faith. Enter it ready to build something extraordinary. This is your year. Go make it unforgettable.